Welcome everybody, and I hope you like change, because I'm already a little bit, this doesn't feel right. That's not our intro, but we'll get used to it. Welcome to the QuickBooks Lab podcast, everybody, the UK's #1 QuickBooks podcast, recorded monthly as we explore tips, tricks and shortcuts to streamline your QuickBooks experience. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap on YouTube, and with me is a panel of absolute experts. So let them introduce themselves. Simon, do you want to go first? Who you are, where you are, and why people should...
Where'd you come from? Where'd you go? I'm Simon. I'm the software advisory manager at Kingston Smith, a top 10 firm in the UK. And I look after the top tech team, and we do anything tech from QuickBooks all the way to NetSuite. So anything in between.
Love it. And before we move on, Charlie, thumbs up or thumbs down for the new intro?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Charlie, who are you? Where are you from? And tell the people where they can find you.
I am Charlie Khan of Charlie Khan & Co, a top 1,000 firm, top 2,000 firm, no idea. Yeah, exactly. And I am a small firm in West London, and I have a Facebook group for QuickBooks Pro Advisors called QBOA User Group for Pro Accountants, Pro Advisors, I should say, and a long-time QuickBooks user.
Awesome. And then thumbs up, thumbs down for the new intro?
Love it. Brilliant.
Love it.
Well done, Lizzie.
We'll let producer Lizzie know that. And new to the team, we have Amy. Amy, who are you? Where are you from? What are you doing here? Go for it.
Hi, I'm Amy Hancock. I have a practice in Bedfordshire, Hancock and Hastings Limited, and I am an auditor and accountant and everything that goes in between.
Yeah, especially excited to learn a bit more about how QuickBooks and auditing can go hand in hand. We definitely want to talk about that later on. So we have a whole new format for you. So let's talk about this. We have a cracker in store for you. And first thing first, let's figure out how this all works. We are live to the world. This session is at 12:30 on the 30th of July. So if you listen to this back at later time, then why not think about joining us live? That way you can get involved with the show and ask us anything using that chat box. So put your questions in, keep us on point. Furthermore, we also live on the podcasting service around the globe, which goes live the first Wednesday of each month. So feel free to subscribe on the new podcasting service of choice. Tune in each month for a dose of QuickBooks fun. Right. We've got a whole new format to kind of talk about this and how we're going to do it. So let me first give a bit of a breakdown of how this new format is going to go. At the very beginning, we're going to go into what we're going to call Update Corner. And we're going to let you know about all of the updates we've had in a very particular format, but you'll see that as we go through. After we've done those updates and we've talked about it within the group, we're then going to move on to our topic of the show, which I forgot to tell everyone what the topic of the show was. So they're all going to learn this live and have to come up with it. And we'll do that next time. Remind me to tell you what the topic of the show is going to be. And then we're going to open up to any questions if we have time at the end. So let's try this new format out. Let's see how it's going to work. And we have fancy new transitions, as I've got loads of buttons to press to get me up and running. So I'm going to press the button and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll go straight into the update. Let's give it a go. And I failed miserably on that one. There we are. Okay, so I have 60 seconds to tell you what this update is. And the first update we're going to talk about is Do you think that our QuickBooks app is getting fair use? And do you think it's been updated on a regular basis? Well, fear not. We have a brand new update for the QuickBooks app, and I couldn't be happier that that is the chance. The update includes, for the Plus and Advanced users, the ability to add quantity tracking and inventory to products and services. So you can now track quantity on hand right from the app. Personally, I think this is long overdue. I think it's great to see, but my question to the group is going to be, is this enough? Have we had enough updates to that QuickBooks app lately? Let's find out. And okay, this failed miserably first time round, but bring everyone back in. Right, I've definitely got a lot of work to do, but people, everyone, right, the app's had an update. For me, I still think it's the strongest app out of all of the FMS solutions out there. I still think we are, privileged to have such a powerful app, but products and services details and now the ability to track quantity on hand. First of all, let's start with that. Is that something that's going to be a impactful update or not? Simon, do you want to go first?
I don't actually know how many people use the app. Like, is it like, do we know that? To be honest, I don't use the app. Majority of our staff will use desktop, and probably have a few clients might use it, but I don't think it's widely adopted. To be fair,
just definitely client focused, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of focused, but even the client side, I don't think that many use it. They prefer the desktop experience. Mainly, it might just be the types of businesses that I work with. To be fair, but any updates to make it easier for different types of businesses is always better. Always good.
So I have a handful of clients who that's all they'll ever use. So they've never logged into that browser, they're never going to, and that's they run their whole business from it, right? Yes, they're smaller clients, and but that's more all they've ever needed. And I feel like that's where the app is so powerful for them, because they couldn't run their business on the other FMS solutions just by using the app. You can only do it from there. Charlie, to you, quantity on hand right on the app. What scenarios do you think of?
Well, none of my clients have stock, so none of my clients would use it, because they're pretty much all service based. So there's no stock for them to track. But in the past, many years ago, I did. So yes, I guess that would be a useful feature if they use the app. But I think I'm with Simon on this one. I mean, none of my clients, as far as I know, use the app. None of them. I never use the app. I'm actually looking at it right now because I haven't looked at it for ages. I think the last time I looked at it was just before I did the recertification, because there's always questions on it, and because I never use it, I have a look before I recertify. They seem to have added a few new bits to it. My problem always with the app is that there's just not enough useful information. I want to be able to see a simplified version of what I'm used to on the desktop. So I want to be able to just look for a customer list, look for a debtor list, look for some reports, and I can't find them. And so I just, after 20 seconds of mucking about, and I go, okay, I'll give up on this. I'll go back to the browser. Maybe a useful tool as to what the app is mainly aimed at. What are the main features we should be using it for, or our clients should be using it for, might be useful. I don't know. You as a trainer, Aaron, I don't know whether you have a video or training thing on specifically on the app, and why that's what it is that one can use it for and what you can't use it for. That might be useful, but at the moment I don't see value in it. But that's probably me missing something.
As core certification, we always include the app in there, and as you've already said, as recertification, it's always included as well, because more so it's about us being able to tell our clients what it can do, right? Like that's the angle that we go for. It's like, well, tell your clients that it can do X, Y, Z, then they should get a better experience for it. You're right, you can't get all the information, but I think that's by design, right? I think it's designed to be, let's keep it simple, let's keep it straightforward. When we looked at the QuickBooks Solopreneur, or whatever we're going to call it in the UK, we want that to be as simple as possible, don't we? That app needs to be like the simplest that people can use it. So I feel like it's made by design, but I agree, like there's definitely bits in there that hold you back from getting the most out of it. Amy, what's your view? Would you let's try and put it onto this update. Do you feel like there's a use case out there for tracking inventory, products and services right in the app? What would you see a use case for that?
I have one client that uses the products and services, but it's not for stock. They buy and sell secondhand equipment. So they don't use the app. I do have a lot of clients that do use the app. I have a lot of construction clients that like to snap on the go. So they do use the receipt snap function, and they do invoice on the go without using the product and services. But with the current state of the app with CIS, they still have to go onto the desktop, or I have a little icon going to the Safari version of QuickBooks so they can do their invoices there. So I have a few that do use it, basic, very small businesses, but the majority of people just go onto the desktop. I do actually use it. I use the app to view my bank feed daily, swiping, and to look at my debt. But I agree with Charlie, the reporting is not that great. If I want to run a quick P&L in line with my financial year, which isn't the calendar year, you have to type it in. It's not got all the drop downs that you've got on desktop.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like those two bits you brought up, well, CIS you brought up there, and also I think VAT, like they're the two missing from the app.
Yeah.
And I think we're asking for a lot to bring them in because they're UK specific issues, right? They're not worldwide. So getting QuickBooks to update, because this is one app for all regions, I believe. I believe that's the case. So us getting elements just for the UK region is probably going to be difficult, right? I'm really grateful we've got an update because I think that's the more updates we can have there. I'm just wondering, like, what is that use case for track quantity on hand? So I mean, we've thought of any yet? Have we got any that you
I'm
can
just
think
thinking
of?
like maybe it'd be good for like market stalls, that sort of stuff, maybe. I don't, where you have like your little sum up machine and it's talking to that and taking the stock in and out. But
Yeah.
maybe it's aimed at those sort of, and obviously all the adverts are based around like coffee shops and like that sort of thing, aren't they? So I think it's definitely aimed at that side more than, which is why probably most of my like the stock side doesn't really matter for my size clients. They probably have a specific stock, a better stock system.
I feel like if that's going to work though, they need the app to be more of an EPOS solution. So it needs to have function. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like
I think that's what
functionality.
I'm saying. I see the app would be, I think for the app to be better, and it kind of goes with more with advanced in that, you've got those like notifications for approvals and better reporting. I think that would be better for that side than physically processing information.
Yeah. 100% agree. 100% agree. Any more for the app thing, or should we move on to the next topic? Anyone else?
Well, just very brief. I would just very briefly throw in. So Amy mentioned that the reports. I mean, the only reports that are built in, as far as I can tell, are the P&L and the balance sheet.
Yeah.
There's no other reports there. It'd be nice if, for example, if you've saved some customized reports, if those, the ones that you've customized for yourself, so they're ones you want to look at regularly, if they could be in the app, that would be useful. A simple debtors creditors list. Maybe you do that by going via sales and then filtering it. I'm not sure, but
yeah, I can see that being powerful. And I think for me, the one update that I would cry out for is client requests. Like I feel like client requests doesn't get used enough because it's a little bit of a difficulty at the moment to really get the most out of it, right? Yeah, it's great sending that email and they can log in, but if they could answer to that on the phone and they could give you snap the receipt or whatever we need to do from there, I feel like that is the place where I'd love to see the functionality added. So we'll see. I mean, we're in a privileged position, right? You compare this to the other FMS solutions out there. I suppose Free Agent's good. Like Free Agent's got a good solution to it, but I'm not sure there's much more out there that really hit the ground as much as the QuickBooks.
I think it depends where they're like. I think that's where I was saying about advanced, in that's going up into that more mid-market thing. It almost like there needs to be sort of two apps, maybe.
Yeah.
Rather than one app across the whole thing, where you can start doing, like you said, some of those things and having your customized reports per user and that sort of stuff, which is what advanced is looking at doing.
I have to say, I wouldn't have thought the app would be used as much. I'm not saying it would never be used, but it wouldn't be used as much. I wouldn't have thought on the mid-market clients, because the mid-market clients tend to. Okay, because I would have thought because they're likely to have a full-time accounts team or at least a couple of.
They will, but it's the people who might be approving those invoices that won't be in that finance team, or want to see you log in and grab a dashboard by, I don't know, their project P&Ls and stuff like that aren't finance users but need to keep an eye on that and might be out and about. It's more for them, I think, than the finance teams.
Yeah,
good point.
That makes sense.
And expense management as well.
Teams,
and expenses. Yeah, that's all they need for expenses, project, whatever they want to do their P&Ls by, and authorizations.
Because it is a little bit crazy, right? That expense management in advance hasn't got the mobile access. Like that almost feels that's how you would integrate it, right? Like if you've just incurred an expense, you take a photo on your phone, and the expense goes through there, right? I feel like that's a no-brainer to have that as app access, right?
Yes.
I mean, Simon, you've got much bigger clients, or much bigger range of clients at least. How many of the mid-market clients are going to be using QuickBooks for expense management rather than a bespoke expense management system, whether it's Pleo or Expensify? Or
if they could, they would. Like if they're on QuickBooks Advanced, because it has, we've seen a lot more people come back to having everything in one place. So you're sort of bringing everything back in as you go into that more mid-market side.
Yeah.
And then if the expense was and the expenses was in QuickBooks, then they would do that because it's bringing that whole thing back into one place that's more efficient and et cetera. But they just can't at the moment. So I think if they could, they would.
I mean, my experience for the bigger clients that they use a bespoke expense management system.
It depends if they've already got one or not. That's the other thing. Like if people have already got something like a Concur, then they're not going to come off of it. If they've got nothing, which some of ours are starting from nothing, then that's the first step. And yes, then eventually they might need something more complex, but it's a first step into doing something bigger.
Okay.
Makes sense. Any more for this one before we move on to the next topic? We're good on the new app update. Thumbs up. We're happy we got an update, right? Yeah, we're just not 100% sure what the use case is ourselves. Cool. Right. Let me move us on to the next topic then. Let's see if I can get it right this time. I feel like I had more time that time. Right. So our new update that we want to talk to you now about is the fact that how many times you logged into a client, seeing that they've posted everything as a cash account, from telephone costs to advertising costs and everything, because as soon as they add new chart of account, they've not changed it. Well, we've got an update that's going to fix that. The chart of accounts area has had a whole new update and it's looking really, really good. So I think this is a big update because this is going to solve that issue. But what do you think? Let's have a look and see what the rest of everyone thinks. Yeah, I'm not sure this is working. Where is everyone? Come and say hi. Here we are. We'll figure this out. I might need to figure out how to get it on my Steam Deck and get it working from there. But people, what do you think? Right? Let's talk about this. The new chart of accounts. We were privy to seeing it in advance, weren't we? Because we were lucky enough to be on the QuickBooks Accounting Council. What's everyone's thoughts though? And I will try and bring it up on the screen in a minute so everyone can see it. So you guys talk about it. Amy, you go first. Talk about it. What do you think to the new chart of accounts? And I'll try and get it on screen so you can talk about it.
I don't think I'm the best one. I need the screen up. I'm like everyone else. I think I need the screen up.
Charlie, you go first while I'm
with Amy on it. I need the screen. I can't remember the details. I mean, I remember it changed. I remember there was some features.
Simon, save me while I quickly try and find it.
Oh, we're going to put no.
I'm looking at it right now.
I found it. I'll bring it up now.
Simon or no? Simon?
Simon doesn't get no. Simon knows nothing. No, of course he knows everything.
Right.
Yeah. We saw it at the council. Yeah. Like for me, it didn't really make much difference to me as like how
really?
Like most of the time we import it anyway.
Okay, so for me, the big issue is when you get a new client adding a new chart of accounts in the old way, and I can show you the old way actually. If I quickly duplicate tab, and let's say that I'm on the bank account screen, let's say that I want, because this hasn't been updated yet, this is the old way. So if I go in here and I go, oh, I want to add a brand new account, I'm going to call it mobile, then how many clients have you had to just press save and close?
Oh, right, got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So this has been always a big bugbear, right? They don't notice the account types changed up here. They don't make this adjustment there. Yeah, hopefully they get the spelling right, which I've not even done on this case, but they just press save and close and they're off to the races. And then you come to the chart of accounts and lo and behold, it's just line after line after line up here of all of the ones, right? In my opinion, this solves this issue completely because the new chart of accounts means that when I press new, I get this right-hand panel turning up. And with the right-hand panel, I can type my name at the top, but I'm forced to pick that account type there. Yeah. And what's nice about the new bit as well is depending if you're a balance sheet, it tells you whereabouts on the balance it is. And if you go and put something on the P&L, it'll tell you whereabouts on the P&L there. So that's the explanation. What do we think?
If you're the client, that's better. If you like, I think it's that use case, isn't it? What we're talking about, who's doing the bookkeeping and who has access to QuickBooks. Yeah. That's like for an accountant, I wouldn't say that really matters because you should hopefully your bookkeepers are doing it properly.
Yeah.
But from an end user, then who might not understand what a balance sheet is or what a P&L is or where stuff should sit, then yeah, it makes perfect sense to do it that way. Yeah, because it is annoying that why did it always default to cash?
Exactly. And
there, people are going to use it. If there's going to be a default there, people are going to use it. They just want to quickly categorize it. So taking the default away is probably the safest option.
Yeah, definitely.
But they've not rolled it out to everybody yet, have they? Because I mean, when I'm looking, I'm in a file right now, and when I click new on the chart of accounts to create a new nominal account, it's not giving me the new one; it's giving me the old one. And when I do it within the bank as well, I would try it in the bank.
Yeah, it's a timed rollout. So I think they're trying to get 100% rolled out by. I thought it was the end of the month, to be honest. But yeah,
okay.
Maybe they've had it. Yeah, maybe the thing is. But yeah,
one of the things I wish they would hide away, if not get rid of completely, and you can see it on your left-hand screen there, is the detail type.
Yeah,
it is confuses clients. Confuses me. I just ignore it. I just leave it to whatever the default is because it doesn't do anything, and it never has. I think they even had this in desktop QuickBooks, which I started using 20 years ago. I seem to recall, and it never had any function there either.
So the counterpoint to that, well, it doesn't even do anything for that, right? The counterpoint I would say is let's reuse this for filing accounts. Because at the moment, if you go to file a set of accounts within work papers, you have to then go map every single account and have to go through each and every one. And it's a painful experience. So I think that detail type for me should then represent that. I feel like for MTD, they've already said they're going to be leaning on that detail type for what boxes to put it in and everything else for filing that.
Fine. Okay.
But you're right. At the moment, it has no bearing at all on anything. Now, are we upset that we lose this little flavor text over here? So in the left-hand side, it tells you what that account's designed to do. So depending on what I've got, it kind of gives me a bit of an idea of use bad debts, trap debt, that sort of stuff. We lose that on the left-hand side. Are we upset about losing that, or is that fair game?
My clients never ever.
Not really, because if they click on the little help button above account type, and it takes them to the help sheet, and it tells them it all anyway. If they click on there and then go find out more, it takes you to the same. It's another list that details them all out anyway.
True.
Video.
So that flavor's still there as such. Yeah,
they're never going to read that, though, are they?
That's the only thing that could be a little bit bigger, maybe, to point people in that direction.
But they're never, even if it was bigger, I don't think they'd ever look at it. Certainly my clients wouldn't. I mean, if it's on the screen, they can at least see it. Whether they read it or not, it's a different matter, but it's right in front of their eyes. They're not going to click a link and go to another page. But I don't think it's the end of the world anyway. If they get it wrong, it doesn't matter. We just, when we next look at it, if they have created as cash at bank or whatever they've created as, we just change it. I mean, at least, I don't know whether other software allows that, but we have the ability to just change it. It doesn't, everything moves with it. It's not like if we change it, it forces the underlying transactions that have already been coded to that account to get lost or corrupted. That they just move. So it's not a big problem for me.
Yeah.
But it was frustrating when they were all defaulting to cash at bank, right? Like it is frustrating. So And what about this little view here? We liking this?
Yeah, I like
preview
that.
area?
I like that. See where it's going to sit.
Because hopefully it makes the client think a little bit more. Hopefully.
You'd hope so.
Surely that if they left it at cash at bank, that should be a more of a why must
But again, if people are in a hurry, as Amy said, and it's defaulted in, they're not looking down there anyway. They're going, I need to code all this stuff because I've got a VAT return due tomorrow. Tick, 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 tick. They're not going to look at where it appears in a report. Are they even looking at the reports?
True.
But I don't think that matters. I mean, if there's something added to the bottom of the screen that doesn't detract from what they're doing at the top of the screen, then they can look at it if they want to, or if they're minded to, or they can not look at it. So those that are minded will get some benefit from it. Those that aren't don't lose anything by it being there. So I think it's probably a very good idea. It's not negatively impacting those that don't want to use it.
Cool. So everyone, thumbs up or thumbs down for this one?
Thumbs up.
Yes. Yeah. I'm loving it. I'm just happy we're not going to get cash at bank. But then if we're going to update it here, don't we need to keep it consistent? Because should it just not be, if that update's rolled out everywhere you add an account, they should have the same view,
Correct.
right?
I think we've said that before, haven't we? Sometimes the update needs to go everywhere, not just in one place.
Cool. Let's make sure we're not missing anyone on the comment. So Abdul says this is brilliant. Hopefully it means the new format, so that's good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And Kirsty says catching you go line at different times, we do apologize, but going forward, we'll just find a time that we can make it work for everybody. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's the plan. Cool. Charlie, you ready for your update that you've got, the invoice payment section? You ready to talk about that? Cool.
Yes.
Let's see how that goes now. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, am I live now? Oh, here we go. So there are 2 new features. Am I allowed to do 2? I've got 2 new features that I discovered recently. One is if you go to the accounts and settings and the sales option, a new heading appeared there a few weeks ago, I think it was. It says invoice payments, payment options, and it invites you to enter your bank or preferred payment service provider. Now, it doesn't at the moment do anything whatsoever on your sales invoices. So I'm guessing that this is either, I'm guessing it's an early rollout of what's going to happen when Intuit introduce to the UK what they've had in the States, I think, for some years, which is, what do they call it? Intuit Bank, QuickBooks Bank, whatever they call it, where they offer banking and perhaps card payment services directly from Intuit rather than using Go Cardless or PayPal or whatever. So it seems to, maybe it's been rolled out too early because it doesn't do anything yet, but that's the first thing that I've seen that's popped up here. And then the second thing that I noticed a few days ago, initially I thought maybe it was only due for advanced clients, but I noticed on plus clients as well, is that when you are looking at a list of transactions under any supplier or any customer, there is an extra column which defaults to being on, at least it does on my clients, which is marked for approval, which is really only a service in the advanced option, the advanced model. So that may be an error. Maybe that will disappear. But at the moment, it's still sitting in there. I'm just kind of trying to bring it up. Yeah. So if you bring up your customers, you've got an extra column that says marked for approval. Are we?
This is is a lot more hard work than it should be.
We need to sort the tech out, don't we? We've got to get the tech sorted.
It's a great idea. Just poorly,
It's brilliant.
as producers, Lizzie will always tell me, great idea, poorly executed. That's the story of my life going forward. But no, Charlie, well done. Yeah, no, that's good. I'll try and bring up on screen so we can kind of talk it through what we were talking about there. So if I just bring this one up on here, this was your approval status, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just on the bottom here. So the idea that this rogue screen's come along, and I'm actually in an advanced file at the moment. So yeah, I don't think I've turned on like approvals or anything properly, but maybe we'll have a play around in a minute. And then chart of accounts, it was this payment option here, wasn't it? Okay, cool. Anyone want to talk about what they think these two, they seem like they're rogue updates, right? That we're not 100% sure what their purpose of them for. So I want to put the hat into the ring of what you think the purpose of these are going to be.
I've just my hat in the ring.
Are
they going to trickle down tech, the approvals into Plus?
Okay, really?
Ooh. I could
would be nice.
Why not?
Yeah.
So they have maybe it's just a trickle down. So you haven't got the full suite of advanced approvals.
Yep.
But you have it might be just a one-stage approval, especially with how they've changed the roles, the user roles. It goes hand in hand with that, doesn't it? Because the new user roles are in Plus, aren't they, as well?
Yeah. So purely speculation, but that could, because at the moment, that's the one thing that keeps a handful of my clients on zero is the approval part. That's it. That's all they're there for. That's all they care about. And we're happy to let those handful of clients stay on the inferior product. That's absolutely fine. But
as Charlie said, it doesn't. I'm on a Plus license, doesn't appear at all. So it's either an error or
this is only suppliers by looks of it at the moment, not customers.
So I'm in an essentials and I'm on expenses, and the approval status column is showing.
Interesting.
Not on my suppliers list either. So it's very hit and miss.
Yeah.
And as curiosity, from an expense point of view, would you ever need approval status on that?
Probably.
Yes. I don't know how it works because I've not played with it yet.
Our point we made earlier about the app, in that if you've got lots of people, would you be using expenses in QuickBooks? Probably not at the moment.
No, not expense claim, sorry, expenses. So expense claim, 100%. I see the approval.
Yeah. Do you mean purchase invoices? Do you mean purchase invoices prior to paying it? You want an approval?
No, I'm saying expenses, because that's why you're seeing it as well, into Amy. Expenses.
Expenses.
It's under expenses, and that's the only screen it appears on.
Yeah, I don't have it on suppliers, and
on bills.
I can't see it on bills. I suppose in expenses, if you've got a situation where you're not getting a bill, but you still want an external approval for it from a director or something, then it would be beneficial. But it's more likely to be a bill.
Yeah, because it's already been paid, right?
Yeah. But I don't have it on that suppliers. I only have it on the expense.
Have you gone into an individual supplier?
Let's go.
So I've got that on the expenses, as I said. So it can't be an error.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. It's I've gone in. There is approval status there. So in the bill payment and expense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I'm in a advanced client here. I was going to quickly go and turn it on, but I can't think of anything that I've got where I've got approvals already sat there. I mean, it's really useful having it there, right? But I don't know.
Yeah, either someone's pressed the wrong button and pushed it to Plus, or it's half turned on.
Half turned on, yeah. Possibly. Yeah.
Like, if you can't build an approval flow, then how can you approve it?
Yeah,
there's nothing when you go into the bill or the expense. There's nothing new in relation to approval.
Yeah, because on advance you have save and send for approval.
Yeah.
You don't have that.
No.
Yeah, and I can't quickly turn it on this one, unfortunately. But yeah, I was going to see how it looked. Okay, right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that one. I think you're right. I think it's something that, fingers crossed, means that we're going to have more access to. But if it's already in essentials, then that kind of blows out the water, right?
Yeah, I think someone might press the wrong button.
Yeah. The idea is great.
I wouldn't expect it in Essentials. I'd expect maybe like a really simplified version in Plus.
Yeah.
So it might just be a one-stage approval.
Yeah,
that would make sense. And then
which would be amazingly useful.
Yeah, 100%, definitely. And again, if you could have that in the app, like Simon was saying before,
yeah,
that's a really nice feature to pass.
Again, it comes back to if you're just the OCR, the receipt capture isn't great, as we've talked about many times. The other OCR tools and receipt capture tools bypass the approvals in advance anyway, so they need to fix that bit as well anyway. So
because Dex has just brought out approval, right? That's their newest.
Dex have got approvals now as well, and obviously then Approval Max have now got capture. So everyone's going sort of building out their platform, so you only have one place to do one thing.
Yeah, 100%. And Charlie, just so we've covered it: invoice payments, payment options.
Yeah,
I don't really know. Payment instructions we put there.
I mean, it's I played with that as well. I put some text in there like you've done. Nothing appears on the invoices. I can only assume that they're bringing the Intuit Bank and Intuit card payment facilities to bypass PayPal. I mean, I hear rumors that PayPal is not going to have the same deals they've had in the past with QuickBooks. I'm not quite sure. In which case, then QuickBooks may have their own cards solution. So it may well be a facility there where you choose what partner you're working with. So then the invoices will automatically then have a link to pay via that method, I would guess. But it's just a guess at this stage. Yeah.
It's definitely not been brought up on any updates and stuff. So it's a strange one, that one.
Yeah.
So other updates, just so we've cleared them all. There was a new search bar that's been integrated. I don't think it deserves its own topic or anything, but just so people have seen it. So if I was to go and do a search at the top right hand corner and press go to transaction search here, this seems to have a new lick of paint. Looks more modern, right? We're liking this update. I assume this is because we're going to that new reporting platform. So I assume it's all in line with that. So not having to duplicate
database now, though. That's the other question. So they might have updated. Does it search the right transactions? We've not tried that.
Unfortunately, this is a demo client, but let's do bill number 30, like it says there. Yeah, reference number seems to be better.
Yeah, and it's a bit quicker as well.
It seems it, doesn't it? And then the word Bob in here. Oh, it's a bit quicker. Yeah, it's coming out with the answers. I mean, the one that always frustrated me was all I wanted was an invoice number. Like finding an invoice number has always been a nightmare, right? So invoice 1301. 13. Let's do 130 and see if it comes up. Yeah, 130, 130. Yeah, it seems to be better. Yeah, cleaner look. Easier to kind of search for. Clicking in seems to be exactly the same as normal. Takes directly to the transaction as you'd expect.
I think there's only one that we said was missing. That was the modified by person. You got the date, but I think the modified by would be quite good.
That's a very good point. That's completely gone, hasn't it? But I suppose is it so that it forces you to go to the audit trail potentially, and you go through the audit log to find it? Maybe. Yeah, you're right. I think having it on that screen would be a nice one.
You can't search.
Good point. You can only do a bit of filtering, can't you?
Yep. So having those on
the last modified date.
Yeah.
So
and
most of it's there.
Halfway there.
Cool.
I do wonder whether some of this has come about because of the third-party Chrome extension product I've talked about before called WriteTool, which has a very, very good search engine. And over the last few months, QuickBooks have started to bring in some of the facilities from WriteTool directly in product. And I wonder whether this is another example of that, which is no bad thing.
Sherlocking, it's called. I didn't know the term either, but when Apple's released their new Grammarly, basically, which is I think it's called Sherlocking. So it's when they find a piece of software they like and just copy it. It's called Sherlocking. So QuickBooks can Sherlock as much as they want. I'm happy with that. Cool. And then the final bit of update from me, more of a US update, but where fingers crossed comes to the UK soon, is mix and match client or firm billing for each of your client products. So the idea there is, at the moment, if you think about it, if you take on a client and you take on their billing, if they want to add payroll, for example, then you've got to add it to your billing, and then you have to then decide what you're going to do with it. Are you going to cross charge it, whatever you're going to do? But this gives you the opportunity to mix and match. So that's got to be a good thing, right? Especially with the amount of new features coming. You've got QuickBooks Time, you've got MailChimp coming along, you've got all those wonderful Intuit products. I think the ability for us to pick and choose which ones we're going to pay on behalf of our clients, which ones they're going to pay directly, has got to be a good thing.
Especially for ones that fluctuate month in, month out. Because like, they can pay for that direct, that's cool. But we'll keep the core. Makes my life a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
Would they then say, we're paying, the clients might say, we're paying two different things? But
yeah.
But, they're getting a discount on the extras anyway. So the payroll,
that's it, isn't it?
So it doesn't really make much difference.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I think the billing area has always needed a bit of a look at anyway. So
they changed it recently, and it made it more like where we obviously cross charge or we recharge to clients, and it made an absolute nightmare.
Yeah,
so they changed it, and everyone was like, "What? Can we have the old version, please?"
The old version back.
You can have the old version back, which they can do, but it was just like, oh, that's a bit. Maybe it's leading up to this potential cross charge, cross billing. Are we going to call it split billing? Let's call it split billing.
Yeah.
Yeah, split billing. Yeah, definitely. Just missed Kirsty saying yes. Have used the new search form. She says really helpful. Yeah, I think we're all definitely like the new upgrade to there. And also, one point we didn't bring up is the audit trail stuck in the loop you struggle to get out of. Yeah, if they can manage to fix that, that would be an absolute dream, right?
That's I go back to RightTool on that one. RightTool fixed that over a year ago. Download RightTool as a Chrome extension. It's brilliant. Well, yeah, they could Sherlock it. They could Sherlock it, or I mean, just very, very brief. I won't go into it in detail. But RightTool has a free version and an advanced paid version, and the free version includes the ability to stop. Includes lots and lots of fantastic tools. So I would really, really recommend it for anybody using the Chrome browser. But it does include the ability to get out. Basically, it opens stuff into a new tab, so you're not stuck in that never-ending loop.
Horrendous loop. Yeah. Never-ending story of being stuck in the audit trail. Cool. Right. Now we're going to go on to topic of the week. Now I feel really guilty here because I forgot to tell the team what the topic of the week is going to be. But the topic I wanted to bring to conversation, and we'll bring a new topic each and every year, is if you had one feature that you would say is better than any of the other FMS solutions out there that you think makes QuickBooks stand out, what is that one feature that you would shout about? So you're only allowed one. And I'm happy to go last because then that makes disadvantage for me because I can't steal one of yours already. But who wants to go first with one feature that you think QuickBooks just wins at each and every time? Go for it. Who wants to go first? Simon,
I'll go.
You did a conversation
about always reporting. Yeah, it's always been its strong book, and it's still the customization of the reporting so much easier and quicker and can load things, and that would be my one thing.
And do you think it's going to get better or worse with the new reporting update?
Hopefully better, because it's given us even more customization and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's its one strong point. No, obviously it's more than that'd be the one thing. That's the one thing we always say. Like, obviously we
the one that you would push as number one.
QuickBooks reporting's always like, obviously the other solutions are getting better, but this is still leading the way, I think, at this level. Yeah. I mean, it's especially like I generally think, I know it's an elephant in the room. I know people are still upset about it because they don't like change, and I get that, 100% get that. But I feel like the options we have here in this new fancy formatting is going to just take it to the next level for us, right? Like just the simple ability that from here, I'm in an advanced one. So funnily enough, I haven't got the feature to do that, but most of those that I go into, I have the chance to turn into a graph, for example. Like for some clients, a pivot table, a graph like that is. It's all those little bits exactly that make it. rather than exporting your data to Excel and then doing a pivot table and then doing a graph. It's just like little quick wins.
The pivot tables, though, are, I think, limited to advanced, though, aren't they? I'm not sure about the graphs.
They are.
Yeah.
But just in general, like even at like advanced and plus, essentials and plus, the reporting's just always been, there's no limit on the number of columns or this data. And if it doesn't load, it just goes, well, send it to Excel and there's your data still. It's not just going to go, nope, I can't load that.
Yeah. And I also think that the management reports, not all of the other FMS solutions give you the opportunity to really dive into doing your own management reports.
I think
that's huge.
That's the only side I think they can improve on, like some of the layouts and stuff like that, or at least being able to customize the layouts of some of those management reports. But they aren't a management. If you're going to do some fancy management accounts, you're probably using something like a Fathom or something on top of it anyway.
Yeah.
If we're on reports, I'll throw in my thing, which I've commented on before on reports, and that's the VAT report, which I absolutely hate. So when you've done your VAT return and you want to download, either download for the client to review or just keep on file the VAT report. This is the one area where where Xero, I haven't looked at their reports for some years, but they always did very, very well. But the VAT report in QuickBooks, sometimes it's big font, sometimes it's small font, sometimes it's portrait mode, sometimes it's landscape mode. The data gets repeated. All the sales information for me, list it once, total net figure, total of VAT figure, and there's your box, whatever it is, 1 and 7 or whatever. I can't remember the box numbers. And things like that would be so much better. But that's the one report I really dislike in QuickBooks. But I agree with Simon that reporting generally in QuickBooks smashes every other product out of the park. it's so good in QuickBooks.
Cool. So Simon's
not that report, by the way, but
that one.
Yeah. You don't like this one.
Not that one. No, that one's fine. So I'm talking about the full.
Yeah.
But you're
the full order,
that sort of stuff.
So who wants to go next? Amy, I feel like it's fairer to give you an opportunity to go next if you've got one. So Charlie, don't steal it.
So if we're talking about the best feature where I spend most of my time, it is in the bank transactions.
Yeah.
And I do use all the other leading software providers as well. I just find when clients are doing things themselves and make mistakes, it's easy to rectify, undo, change category. I'm training people to use it all the time, and it's so simple. Yeah, compared to other providers, I really struggle with some of the other providers using their bank feed. But yeah, QuickBooks does it well.
Interesting you say that, because this is the bit where I completely agree. And I feel like once you've got them, once you've done that training with them, they fly through it and they get it.
Yeah.
But this whole idea of having a multi-tab approach, do you think that's inherently good or inherently bad? Like if you compared that to competition, no one else has that multi-tab approach. What do you feel like? Do you feel that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I feel a lot of my clients want to give their own bookkeeping go, rightfully or wrongfully, and having the ability to then view and undo. I think I might like a locking period for it. I'm not going to lie. I remember using cash flow with a K, and you could lock that down and they couldn't go and change it. So having a lockdown might be a better option if people are doing their own. But I have clients that come to me that do a whole year's worth wrong, and the ability to now actually all the filtering that they've now put on it and grouping has saved so much time. To change, undo. Yeah, I do like it. And if clients doing their own and their bank doesn't reconcile, I'm straight on the excluded.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like the strength with QuickBooks is that it just makes it, or it invites clients to add things to and put transactions in. They may not get it 100% right each and every time, but it invites them to go and put that transaction in, right? Whereas a lot of the other FMS solutions are, oh, you can't add that. You don't know the X or you don't know the Y. Like you don't know the supply. You don't know this. And it almost makes it so that you can't add a transaction unless you know the full
Everything.
100% of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really intimidating to clients. They feel like, oh, if I don't know this, I can't do it. Whereas QuickBooks, yes, sometimes it means that we get a messy set of accounts, but that's our job, right? Our job is to fix that. And I feel like QuickBooks gives us all the tools to fix that in a really efficient manner, where the other solutions are very much like, well, let's make sure they get it in right first, and we don't need to give you tools to fix it. And I feel like that's really difficult, isn't it? I don't know what's right or wrong, but I feel like that's where QuickBooks definitely has a benefit from, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you must have to clean up more than any of us with your what solution do you find it easier to clean up? Is it QuickBooks or?
It is QuickBooks. I think alongside with the reclassify function under the accountants tools, just makes it.
Now you've stolen mine as well. Look
Oh, I'm sorry.
You've now picked two, Amy. You've cheated.
You've got to use them alongside each other.
Yeah.
So I'll let you talk now, Charlie. Go on.
Well, I see. I was obviously going to go with reports as number one, and then Simon took it. But I think reports is probably number one for everybody. So then I thought, aha, I know. I'll fix Aaron on this one, because I know your favourite, Aaron, is bank reconciliations. So I was going to go with that one, and Amy nicked that one. So I thought, okay, what the hell am I going to go with?
Take bank recs, because this is the only one that does a proper bank rec.
Well, I'll let Aaron do that one, because it's his favourite. It's his favourite.
I've got others, Charlie. So you choose what you want.
A long list.
Well, I mean, it's okay, but I'll do bank rec then. I mean, bank rec. Well, I completely agree with Amy. Reclassify transactions is hugely powerful. Now, I mean, I don't know whether the other tools out there.
Zero had it from day one.
Okay, well, okay, fine. But the bank rec. I mean, look, bank recs are very different these days for most of us in the UK. I mean, I see a lot of accountants in America on various sort of accountant Facebook groups and things. I mean, they're always having problems with their bank recs, and that's because Americans are still obsessed with paper checks. But it's been about 15 years probably since I last had a client that wrote more than one check a year. And 10 years, I think about 10 years ago, I banned all my clients from using checks and told them if they ever wrote a check, I would sack them as a client, because I can't stand checks. So actually, bank recs these days, it's very, very easy. But the fact that we can mark the bank as reconciled, so we can pull up a bank statement at where are we now, end of July, so a 30th of June bank statement, for example, see the balance is there, see that everything's been ticked in QuickBooks, and go, okay, fine, that reconciles, and we know then that what was that sign? And attach the statement as well. Yeah, well, I mean, that they sort of, was it a year ago that they started to bring that in? I've actually found very, very few banks and very, very few clients where that works. But
you can do it manually.
They added that more. What was that?
Yeah, you can manually add your own though if you want to.
You can manually add. Yeah, you can manually. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, but so having the ability then to actually reconcile, which Xero does not do, and therefore tells, particularly us, it means that, if whether the client or my bookkeeper or whoever have actually done the reconciliation, okay, fine, we've got the statement balance, we've got the bank balance at that date, everything up to that date is fine from a bank perspective. We only need to look forwards from then. Whereas if you're in something like Xero and the thing doesn't balance, where do you go back to? When was the last time it reconciled? No idea. Exactly. Do you go back 10 years? I don't know where you go back to. So the reconciliation process and having the ability to mark it at a certain date, these are all fine.
You can do that on any GL code, can't you?
Well, actually, here's the big thing. Something I've done for 20 years. I first did it on QuickBooks Desktop in I think 2003. I started using it, or maybe earlier. Was I used to regularly do it for prepayments and accruals. So what I would always do is I was always whenever, certainly on prepayments, whenever I set up a prepayment, I would reverse that prepayment out. Even if it was over 12, if it was monthly over 12 months, I would set up the day I set up the prepayment, I would future date all of the 11 reversals over the next 11 months of that prepayment for the year at the future date, so that the future date balance on the prepayments account was always zero. But you look at it at any particular date, and there was obviously a balance there. But I would then use the reconciliation thing only ever up to today's date to match off those that had reversed off completely as of today, which means I would keep a report, a customized report on prepayments and likewise on accruals that only showed the unreconciled ones. So when you're looking at a prepayment report, you only saw those that hadn't been fully reversed, which was an incredibly useful way and simple way to keep your prepayments up to date. Because I always thought it's nuts that you spend time creating a transaction and deciding that you need a prepayment, and somebody else completely new is working on the books next month, next year, and they've got to work out how you created these prepayments. So to me, reverse them when you create them.
Yeah, 100%.
Much simpler.
100%. And like Simon was saying there, the fact that you can reconcile anything, like for us, VAT suspense gets reconciled every quarter, no matter what that's, and VAT control as well. Like we don't send a VAT return out without those two done. And for us, that client overview screen here, and you can see then when you were last reconciled to, this is huge to us. This is like, this is one of the most important screens in the whole of QuickBooks to us. And knowing that these ones have all been reconciled to the right date or whatever it's going to be, this is a test client test file, so it's obviously going to be out of date, but that's so important, isn't it? And having that confidence then that you've reconciled past that date and you pushed it forward. And I know that the rest are trying to bring in reconciliations in some format, but none of them are locking it down, like showing you that audit trail, pushing it through. And I just feel I don't feel confident in not having something reconciled. And that's, to me, that's like part of our job as an accountant bookkeeper, right? Like that is our role. And I just without giving us a tool to properly reconcile, I don't know how we are confident enough going forward. Any more want to talk about reconciliations and why you love it?
As an auditor,
sorry, go on.
Sorry.
Go on, Amy.
I was just going to say, as an auditor coming in to look, if they're all reconciled, I'm happy. I'm still checking them, but there is actually a test to check the bank reconciliation.
So how would you do it on other platforms, just out of interest, not having only done one audit in my life and I counted cakes for a week?
Quite often the accountant, because they'll be an accountant, should be, will do an Excel reconciliation like the good old days and have balance and the balance and a snip of the bank statement in.
And they're not wrong, right? Like they are correct, but it should just
be in the software.
Yeah, it's the idea that it's locked, and I can't, and unfortunately I can't show it on this account, but that idea that it tells you if you've made a difference, like Charlie was saying, like that is huge. Like, I can't reconcile this month because someone's changed something back in 2013. Right. Well, alarm bells there, because why are they changing it back in 2013? And you figure, it does that in the other world. I don't know, they just expect it to be correct. Well, it's got to be correct because we've attached the bank account. Well, how many times have we seen that? That's never right.
That West Bank fees went down, missed out a whole day.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And if you have not reconciled your bank, how do you know it's missed a day?
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Other than when you get to the end and you go, well, my X balance is X and my statement balance is this. You don't know.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is,
I mean, it was always extraordinary to me. I mean, when they launched Xero, that, I mean, bank reconciliations. I mean, I trained as a bookkeeper many years ago in a small accounting firm where the bulk of our work was bookkeeping, leading to a set of final accounts. And bank reconciliations were absolutely fundamental. And the idea that you can launch a tool as successful and as powerful as Xero, and it doesn't have a tool, a sort of feature that fundamental, it's extraordinary to me.
Yeah, I mean, they did bring in reconciliation as
it's like a report, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can put the bank figure in, and it's supposed, but it doesn't lock anything out. It doesn't give an audit. So yeah, as Kirsty says, she loves a good bank rec, and that's why Kirsty's always up there. That I wish I easily showed them have attachments. Yeah, so saying there from the VAT point of view, that would be great. Yeah, just to be able to see the you can create that report. You can go through it, go through the thing, but having it on that VAT audit book would be lovely. Right, anyone else on bank rec before we quickly go to mine? Well, good, cool.
On the bank, I was going to say at least you got auto add rules. That's all I was going to add. But
yeah. But the rest have them, right? It's just
not auto publish rules.
Oh,
well, the one Xero does not. You can write a rule, but it won't auto post it.
I did not know that one.
You then have to still click OK.
Oh, if I only knew that for a recent video I did. So I've got a whole list of reasons why I think QuickBooks is better than the rest. The one I'm going to bring in, which I still can't believe no one else has stolen yet. So maybe there's some sort of like, I don't know, maybe they've they've got some trademark on it or something. But for me, taxes and the VAT error checker, like, just makes sense. Like the idea that you're using a bit of machine learning, bit of algorithm, bit of all those other stuff. Like, surely the one thing you want to do when you're about to press submit on something is making sure things are correct. Now, yes, there are more tests this can do, and yes, this isn't perfect. We could definitely deep dive, and there could be definitely more things that can be added. But as a fundamental check, it's spotted so many little silly errors in our firm, and I'm sure it's done the same for everyone else, right? Like, just the idea of going through, seeing if there's anything missed on your bank, seeing if there's any unexpected items that got inconsistent back codes and stuff like that. I'm just shocked that we're in 2024 and it's still only QuickBooks that offers this as a solution.
It was in Sage 50. It
was. You're right. Yeah. There was a Sage 50. Yeah.
And I know the fact they looked at Sage 50 and went, yeah, that's quite good. We'll have that.
We'll use that. But they didn't bring it Stage 1, right? Which is weird.
Yeah, but let's not talk about that. But then you've got people like using Dex Precision that does this, or a much, for the zero. If you've got a practice that's got lots of different software, I mean, I only work with Zero and QBO, but we would use Dex Precision to source all this information in there, which would then do like the Zero side of it. So I think that's where Zero are leaning on the third-party app to do that heavy lifting for them.
Which is great, but if you're a client who just does your own VAT
return,
return,
a client, then yeah.
And even the Dex position can't see all the data because they don't know what's not been posted through the bank yet, right? So if you have, I mean, it's crucial you get this bit right, but if you haven't put the bank transactions in yet, you want to be told that,
because the APIs are different. You get different information from different systems.
Yeah, so Zero probably does get told that, right? But from a QuickBooks point of view, doesn't get told.
But hang on, does this pick up unposted bank transactions?
Yeah. At the moment, one item will be excluded for a VAT period, and that's because. That's the no VAT ones. But on the one below is telling me bank transactions you might have missed. Sorry, that one. Review now.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Which you'd have thought bare minimum you would have done that bit by now, but it happens, right? People forget, people slip. But so if you've got multiple bank accounts, right? Maybe you've just not done you've done your bank, but you're not doing your credit card account or something like that, right? It's that little thing that's just telling you that you've missed it and you've pushed it through, and put it from there. Any duplicates, it'll spot that for you. I love it. Yeah. Amy, what's your as an auditor? Do you like it?
Yeah, we use it for every single one. It actually helps training as well for using other software, because you know what to look for if the other software providers don't have it. So you might have to go and run your own reports rather than click a button in here. But yeah, every VAT return, this is done.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, that's what I think makes it shine above the rest. I just can't believe that no one else has jumped on it. Charlie, you were about to say something actually, so I just spoke over you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it is a fantastic report, an incredibly useful tool. I completely agree, but I would like the ability to, first of all, when you've done a check, if you could mark it as done, because it doesn't really tell you you've done something. Once you sort of halfway through it and you come back, you've got to start all over again because you've no idea what you've done. So it should tell you that. And secondly, I would like the ability for a user to say, I'd like you to, on this client, for all future VAT check, ignore transfers. If they're, I've got some clients who are constantly transferring money almost every day back and forth between a current account and a deposit account or something. And it keeps telling you all these things haven't got VAT. Well, of course not. They're just cash transfers. There is no VAT involved in that. So it'd be nice to have the facility to say, for the future, you can ignore these things because they're not relevant.
Yeah, and I imagine Intuit Assist, when that comes live, you'd imagine this will plug into this.
That's the sort of stuff that you do in Precision.
Yeah,
you say, right, that supplier that will always be the VAT codes on that supplier will always be different. Can you just ignore it?
Yeah, but if this one is ever changed, I need to know about it because that's
exactly
exactly.
It's bringing some of those elements into it, but then it sort of ties back into QuickBooks Practice Manager and then workflows and all that stuff, bringing all of that together, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I know when we were talking about MTD, it's and feedback and everything else, MTD, it's error checker was high on the agenda to put in. So yeah, that'll be brilliant, right? Bringing that through and pushing that in.
But when AI starts to really come into QuickBooks, and my understanding is that Intuit,
Intuitive.
like every big company, have got a lot of people working on AI in the States. When AI really comes in, this sort of thing will become incredibly powerful, and it will just do it all. We won't even need to run that check. It will have done all those checks for us intelligently, because it will run multiple AI tools, and different tools will do different things, and it will very intelligently tell us what we need to specifically look at. So it will know more than just 2 invoices to the same customer in the same month or something with different VAT codes. It will realize why that's the case. You've sold children's clothes as well as adult clothes, or whatever the reasons are in your business.
Yeah, 100%. And one day it's, you're looking at the stars, but one day it'll be, well, you've already got the receipt on there, so let's just make sure you have put the right VAT code against it. That's what's going to happen one day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Brilliant. All right, everyone. I think that's enough for today. We've talked about enough to do with the world of QuickBooks. Charlie, do you want to go first? Have you got anything you want to plug, where people should go to, anything like that? The floor is yours.
Yeah. So I'm just going to get back to it. Here we go. So I would say, if you're not a member already of the Facebook group for QuickBooks Pro Advisors, come and join us there. It is called QBOA User Group, QuickBooks Online Community for Accountants. There's about 800 and something members at the moment. Come and join us. Let's get us over 1,000. It'd be very nice. And it's a group for pro advisors to raise issues, ask questions, share ideas with each other. And we're independent of Intuit, but it's a very, very useful group.
100%. Absolutely love that group. Amy, hopefully we've not scared you away. Hopefully you'll be coming back again one day. But please plug away, tell the world where they can find you, or what you should be looking out for. Go for it.
So you can find me all on LinkedIn. I like to talk about audit. Hope it's not too boring. I've also done a podcast with a fellow accountant, James, called Bean Counter to Boss, where we talk about starting our practice and what we've done and implemented in place. And there will be more to come from both of us.
Tease, we like a good tease. Oh, excellent. Simon, go for it. Tell us where they can find you, that sort of stuff.
You can find me on LinkedIn. I've got nothing to plug, nothing at all. I've got nothing to plug. I don't even want to plug myself. No. You can find me on LinkedIn, and just be find out what people think of the new format, really.
Great idea. Please do.
So, yeah,
and all of that feedback to Simon, please. Neil, collate it all.
I've now opened myself up for 1 million emails, haven't I?
Yeah, hopefully he knows how to use MailChimp. He'll send a MailChimp out later and off to the races. But no, thank you all. Do give us feedback. That's what this is all about, right? Like, are we doing this right? Are we doing it wrong? It'd be great to hear. We've got some live events coming up soon, so we'll figure out if we can get some of these some live in-person events as well. But thanks for all your questions. If you're listening via podcast, don't forget to follow us on Facebook so you can join us live on any future episodes. Say Facebook, we're on every single platform there is imaginable. And keep an eye on the socials to know when we next go live. And that's it. That's goodbye from me. Oh, we've got a new outro as well. So unfortunately, I've been outvoted and we've lost our outro that I was very proud of. But no, we've got a brand new outro to look at and enjoy. So cheers, everyone. And it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Goodbye for me.
Cheers, everyone. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.